Thank you for being here. This is Mark's Alternative, and we help you get more clients. Today, we are going to look at how to write a perfect copy for your SMS marketing campaign. SMS marketing has over 90% open rate, so it's something that you should consider pursuing and using for your business to get more clients. So let's dive in. The first thing that you need when you're writing a perfect copy for your message is only have one idea per message. Assuming you are selling multiple products or you're offering different services, you don't want to put this in one message. So for instance, you do financing and probably also do lead generation. You don't want to mix that in one message. Only focus on one idea and one idea only. If for instance you are in clothing, your idea should only focus on clothing only. The second idea, use simple and clear language. This is not time for you to use jargon and difficult words. You want to be simple, clear, and straightforward. The third idea that you want to have is always personalize your message. And this is where you go with having a name for the person you're targeting, having a persona of the person you're targeting. Always ensure that you already know them. It is easier if you address them by first name and you have a history of where they are coming from, compared to just having random numbers and you do not know their story at all. So I recommend, if you have a list that contains names of those people, the better. Always address them by their name. The next thing that you want to do is, when you're creating a perfect message, always have breaks on your text for readability. What this means is, you don't want your message to be one thing that is just continuous from the beginning to the end. You want to have some breaks and some spacing in between sentences. It is easier to read and get the ideas with ease. The other thing that you want to do when you're writing a perfect copy is always speak in first person. This is where you address the other person using the I. Something like, "Hey Jim, I noted that you are interested in swimming, and we have something that you would be interested in your field. Is this something that we would consider?" Always address the person with the first person. Speak with I. The other thing that you want to consider is always provide value in every message and avoid being promotional in message one. This is a big mistake that a lot of people make when you're running SMS campaign, whereby you go all out with your first message. Your first message is not for promotion. Your first message is aimed at creating a rapport so that you can always get a reply from this person. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of the recipient. Most of the time, when you receive promotional messages, because we're used to this, the tendency is to ignore them. You don't want to be the other person to be ignored. Make it conversational. It is easier that way. The other thing is, don't use the same exact copy across text and emails. Some people have the tendency of using the same message over and over. They use it in SMS, they use it in email, and they do not create any spin tags. For instance, if you come to this platform here, the best SMS platform that you will come across, if you sign in, once you sign in here, and then you gonna log in here that way, I'm gonna show you something quite profound that will help you understand how to do a perfect copy. Let me go to tools, templates. I believe I should have a templates here. Yeah, here you go. Perfect. I talked about line breaks. This is what I mean by line breaks. It is not one continuous message like that. We have some break here for ease of reading. And I've mentioned about creating spin tags and not sending the same message over and over. Here we have probably contact name, contacts. We have that here. If you have the name, that is a personalization we are talking about. Now, when it comes to sending the same message over and over, this is the syntax feature we are referring to. If you look at this message, could you consider exploring trading? Interested in venturing in the world of trading and all of that? This is one message. The objective of this message is to ensure that the system is going to pick one for person A, another one for person B, another one for person C, but the meaning and the message you want to pass across is the same. But now from a system perspective, you will be seen as sending different messages. It makes you look more human. Just like when you're chatting with different people, even though you want to sell them the same thing, if you're not copy pasting, you can't have the same message talking about the same thing word by word. You will have variation. So that is where we apply this. All right. So the other idea is don't go overboard with abbreviations. This is something that over time people are using a lot of abbreviations. They want to probably say TGIF, LOL, TF, or whatever that you want to use. The thing is, people don't always understand your abbreviations. The other thing that you want to do is always end your message with a strong and clear call to action. This is where you want to ensure that the recipient knows what to do after they have read the message, clear and precise. And the best thing that I usually recommend is make it conversational and engage. The call to action is not probably for them to buy something from the first message. The call to action could be triggering this person to make a reply. For instance, hey, Sarah, I saw your website and I noted that your SEO score is quite low, and I noted a few things. Would you be interested to know more about what is making your website not perform? That will trigger a reaction. So ensure that your message ends with a strong call to action so that people can respond. The other thing that I have noted can be very huge, especially for people whose English or the language they are using is not their first language, is spelling and grammar mistakes. One of the big turn-off when you receive a message is if it has spelling and grammar mistake, one can easily ignore it. So ensure that you don't have spelling and grammar mistake. The other thing that you want to ensure is always target your messages by audience segment. What this means is that when you're targeting your messages, create categorization. Create categorization whereby people you are targeting different audiences depending on their interest. You don't want to be sending people who are probably in legal services and you are promoting a service in something like architecture or something of that kind. So always ensure that you have a very targeted list that you're targeting that will be interested with what you have to tell them. The other thing is planning the timing and the frequency of your messages. I mean, if I receive a message at 2 a.m., that time you're already asleep. What does that mean to your message? So always ensure that your timing is correct. And also, don't send 50 messages about the same subject. Always, once you do the first message, you can do another single follow-up after a day or two, and that's it. If that person has not replied, leave them alone because maybe they are not interested and you want to avoid a situation whereby they're just you becoming a nuisance. They will either report you or mark you as spam. And lastly, but not the least, is make it a two-way conversation. This is something that I've noted many people, a big mistake that many people do, whereby they just want to push their agenda. They don't want the recipient to reply to them. Always create a situation whereby the other people can listen. You can also listen to the other side of the story. They can reply to you. You can have a conversation. Great sales come out of stories and conversations. The other idea is always test your message. Before you send your message, always ensure that you have tested it and it is as per the way you would want it. And lastly is do not blast. Always send slowly. This is where you want to avoid a scenario whereby your messages you're being seen as a natural sender and your messages will be treated as spam. If, for instance, you come to this tool here and then you come to devices here and you add a device, for instance, let me scan my device here so that I demonstrate for you. If I open this and I want to scan this QR code, all right, scan QR code from my Android device. There you go. It's waiting to be connected. It's already connected using another device. So I can't be able to connect with my device. But what happens is if you are able to, let me do this real quick, just a minute. I want to connect so that you can be able to see how it works. All right, I'm connecting my device. In a minute, as it is important for you to see how the concept of linking your creating time delay in your message is important. So my device is connected here. So if you come here, edit this item, this is what I'm referring to, always do not blast your messages. I usually recommend put it at 240 seconds to 600. This means that you're sending your message between 4 minutes and 10 minutes. The beauty about this platform is you can always have multiple devices added. So you don't have to worry about the number of devices or the number of campaigns. We have a scenario whereby some people even add more than 50 devices. So if you want to go big and you want to go huge volume, this is always the way to go. So I'm going to leave the link in the description for this platform, Lazozia, and I hope this video has been helpful. Thank you and goodbye for now, and see you on the next one.